How do you know tomorrow morning when he wakes up he doesn't have all this shit? Every day that passes when you do that, you're gambling your life. What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be reacting I can't even talk. We're going to be reacting to a video by Greg Doucette and Dura. They're basically having a little debate whether would you rather live longer or take steroids and be more successful. And I'm going to give you my answer to that question in a little bit, but let's get right into their video.
He thinks that everyone, and by everyone I mean men, all of them should use steroids, that it's awesome. Everyone should experience it. So it sounds like Togi. And I'm going to tell you...
It's not Togi.
79! Togi.
Yeah, I know, but it's a little different.
Sounds like Togi to me, pretty much.
So I'm going to be obviously thinking that this guy's a moron.
Stop being a moron!
And that's because he is a moron. Spoiler alert, there's the answer to the question. From my opinion, don't use steroids, live longer than last time.
You tell us why we should be on steroids.
Okay, so here's the thing. This is what I noticed. All successful influencers.
Okay.
All, yeah. You, me, people, other influencers.
Will Tennyson, Jesse James, Jeff Nippard.
And most bodybuilders too, like pro bodybuilders. We've made most of our success with the help of testosterone use or steroid use.
Okay, I have, you have.
Yeah, but there are a shit ton of other influencers. But here's the thing.
I agree with that. There are a lot, but not all.
But all of the ones who have are always telling other people not to do steroids.
They're telling people not to do it because what they're doing is stupid, because they're taking years off their life. And he's going to go on about it in the video and say they're all hypocrites. Well, look at me. I'm not a hypocrite then because I haven't done it. And you could argue, well, you only have 500 followers, so clearly you're not that successful. But I would argue I'm going to live longer.
So basically,
it's
you're
exactly
saying it's
the same thing.
Hypocritical for somebody like me to say, don't use steroids when I actually did.
And still doing it, even though it's HRT or whatever.
So in a sense, it is a little bit hypocritical, but this is the thing. When Greg says, oh, don't use steroids because of this, this, and that, and you're like, oh, well, you use them, so clearly I can too. He's telling you this based off his experiences with them. He tried them, shit happened, now he's trying to spread the word to people not to do it because shit happened, and it doesn't come for free. It comes with negative side effects. So he's using the experience that he garnered from using them to discourage other people from using them. It's like me, like, let's say I started smoking or whatever, and then I quit. And I quit because there's negative side effects to it. Is it bad of me to go to other people and tell them, hey, don't smoke or whatever? No, obviously not. That's a good thing. Because I learned my mistake from starting in the first place. So now I'm going to spread the word to tell people not to do that because I was wrong.
Really, when you think about it, if someone were to come and tell you, would you do it again?
Right now, the answer is no. But I
don't believe you.
You don't believe me?
No.
Okay, until the last couple of years, I 100% it was with you. I was like, if you asked me 5 years ago, do I have any regrets? I would have said, there is no regrets. I'm winning shows, I feel good, I look amazing, so why would I regret it?
And that's another thing. When you're on testosterone or performance-enhancing drugs in general, you're going to feel like, obviously, I don't have any experience in that. I am 100% natural, and I plan on staying 100% natural for the duration of my life. But I know from other people talking about it, you're going to feel like freaking Superman when you're on them. And you're not going to want to stop. And in the moment, it's going to feel so good, and you're going to be like, yes, this is amazing. But eventually, you're going to have to come off, and then you're going to feel like shit. And then you're just going to want to keep doing it. And if you do keep doing that, you're gonna hit the grave real soon. And you may think, oh, I don't really care, I don't really want to live till I'm 80, 70's good enough, whatever. When you're 70 and you're on your deathbed, what do you think you're going to think then? You're probably going to have some regrets. You're going to regret all the things that you took because you could have known that you would have lived longer. When you are on your deathbed, that's when you're going to regret it. In the moment, you feel amazing, but when you're about to say bye to this world, that's when you're going to regret it.
Now I want to live longer. I want to live to be like 90. And so I'm in my mind, I'm like, what if those 10 years plus, like 10, 11 years, whatever, that I abuse steroids takes 10 years off of my life?
Let me ask you something.
Yes.
If someone were to tell you, if you haven't used steroids, you would have a normal life. It's a normal guy. You would be a normal guy making 100K a year.
Like a school teacher like I was for 11 years.
Exactly.
Right.
Staying a school teacher. Would you take that deal?
To live 10 more years longer?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Okay, so here's the thing. I think, in my opinion anyway, most people would actually take if you were giving it to majority of people on the spot, I do think majority would be like, no, I'm taking millions of dollars, whatever, and I'm going to shorten my life by 10 years. And that's what I think the majority of people are going to do. But here's the thing. Like I said before, when you're on your deathbed, that's when you're going to regret it. You're going to regret it. Let's say you have a family or whatever. They want you there. You want to be around. Let's say you have a kid or whatever, or they have grandkids or whatever. You want to be around. You want to be around for them. You're going to feel like Superman in the moment, but when push comes to shove, it won't be worth it in the end. I promise you that. I'm really glad, anyway, that I realized stuff like this really early on in my life. I'm only 16, but I realized, this is another reason why I stopped. When I was younger anyway, I used to eat junk food all the time. I would eat shit food, garbage. I didn't care. It was whatever. I'm a kid, whatever. But then when I started getting into lifting weights and, health and fitness and all that, I'm like, is it worth it? Really? Yeah, I'm still a kid. Yeah, I can probably get away with it, but I can get away with it right now. Later on, push comes to shove and you can't get away from it. You can't. And I would argue that being morbidly obese and having a really, really shit diet is just as bad as taking steroids. It's just as bad. If you're clinically overweight and you don't give a shit about your diet or whatever, and you're just like, I'm all in, just as bad as taking steroids.
Yeah.
You got grandkids, the whole
I'm
thing.
done.
You're 80.
You're 80.
You're done. You're done with life. You've done everything.
Again, you say that right now. You say that when you're in your 30s. You say that now. When you're 80, you're done. I don't want to live anymore. Trust me, when you are 80, you will want to live. You will. And if you take steroids, the debate is, would you take steroids and be rich and famous and whatever, or live 10 years longer? If you take steroids, it might not just be 10 years cut off your life. It could be 30, 40, 15, depends on the dose, depends on your genetics, on how your body responds to them, all these sorts of things. So it's just, you're playing Russian roulette with your health, man. It's not worth it.
First of all, I don't think steroids, especially if used correctly, will do that.
I didn't use them correctly. I was at 700 trend for a bit.
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm not telling people to do the cycles that we did for competition.
But what dose of test do you think is safe? Like, say somebody's contemplating, they're watching this show, and they're like, I want to use test. What dose could they use that you think is safe?
I had that on Niall's podcast.
Yeah.
I'm from Egypt, and we have what we call the dad cycle. Basically, all my friends are on it, and it's 500 milligrams of testosterone a week, maybe some Anavar, and maybe 5 units of growth hormone a day.
And I love it how Greg laughs there because he obviously knows that is not, that's what he considers a safer dose of steroids. Are you nuts? Anything above what a doctor prescribes you is abuse, and it's going to take years off your life. Now, if you actually need HRT, TRT, because you have clinically low testosterone and the doctor's prescribing that to you, that's obviously very different. But, God, 500 milligrams of that is going to put your testosterone, like, through the roof, way out of physiological ranges. Now, if you compare that to doses like Derek Lunsford and Sebum and shit like that, obviously it's very low, but that could very well take off 10 to 30 years off your life. Not worth it. Don't freaking do it.
What if they already are making, say, they're really crazy, they already have 900 or 1,000 nanograms per deciliter and they're 20?
First of all, studies have shown that most men have less testosterone, have 50% less testosterone than what our fathers and grandfathers had.
Yeah, you want to know why that probably is? It's probably because we have shit diets now, people are morbidly obese, and we have way more access to fast food and garbage and junk, and we're sitting on our asses all day. Now, if you want to bump up your testosterone, fix your freaking diet, work out, do your cardio. Not the answer shouldn't be a syringe right away. If you have clinically low testosterone and you go to try and get it prescribed to you right away, they're not just going to give it to you straight away. At least if the doctor knows what he's doing. They're going to have you fix your diet, your exercise routine, and do all this stuff. So when he says, oh, men today have way lower testosterone than they were back in the day, you know what? They probably do. But it's because our diets are shit, our exercise routine is shit. That doesn't mean we need to stick a freaking syringe in us to up our testosterone when we're not doing the basic minimum things to be healthy, to have good hormone levels.
Like, how many people would have those kind of numbers? 900 to 1,000.
Now?
Yeah.
Oh, 5% maybe of people?
I would argue even less.
Yeah, low percent.
Yeah. So I don't think we should count those. The average male right now has less testosterone than most males 30 years ago. I would argue having lower testosterone than 30 years ago, like the rates of testosterone that we have now, has more of a health effect, a negative health effect, than being on a little more being on a little more using HRT.
See, they're both not good. Having a little bit higher than normal testosterone or having lower testosterone, anything out of that reference range is no good. If you're outside of the reference range and you've done everything with your exercise routine, your diet, your sleep, all that to the best of your capabilities, and it's still in the toilet, then you're going to get prescribed HRT. And he also brings up in the video, like, you know, we need to get guys at 900 nanograms per deciliter and shit like that. That is at the pinnacle. That is right at the peak of the reference range. There's a reason why there's a reference range. It means you can be anywhere in that reference range is considered healthy. It doesn't have to be, oh, you have I believe, don't quote me on this, I'm not 100% sure on this. I believe it's around, for a male anyway, 200 to 1,000 nanograms per deciliter of testosterone is the reference range. So why do we need to be in the 900 to 1,000 when 200 to 1,000 is considered healthy? Anywhere in there, if you are in there, you are healthy, you're doing it good, nothing's wrong testosterone wise. So why do we have to be pushing like 1,500 or go above that range? You don't. It's stupid. Don't do it. Don't listen to this guy.
S levels past 2,000 for sure.
The dad cycle, I think, is something everyone has to experience, because like you feel
just like fucking, you know.
So here's the problem with that too. Greg also talks about this. So what happens is when you take this big ass cycle and you're like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to take one and then I'm never going to do it ever again. This is what's going to happen. When I said this again before, when you're on that cycle, you're going to feel freaking fantastic. But eventually you're going to have to go off and then you're going to feel like dog shit. And that's going to make you want to take it again. So it's not going to be, oh, I'm going to do it this one time. It's going to be, you're going to be doing it for 10 years straight. And by then, all your blood markers are out of whack. And you're like,
Oh, my liver enzymes are out of whack. Oh, my LDL cholesterol's through the roof. Oh, my HDL, the good cholesterol, it's in the freaking toilet.
well, shit.
About the death. I think while you're in it, you don't regret it. But when you get older, because you're in it, you're dieting for a show. So while you're on test, you can't envision not being on it. So it takes time away from it to really contemplate what you're doing.
But here's the problem, is that you can't imagine your life as a teacher again.
I could, because I lived that life. And I was happy when I was a school teacher. You don't believe me?
He's attributing a lot of, like, Greg's success or people's success in general to taking steroids. He's like, you know what, if you take steroids, there's a greater chance that you're going to be successful in life, make millions of dollars, blah, 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 blah. And while that is probably true in the profession of the fitness industry, let's say you were going in for an accounting degree or whatever, how is taking testosterone gonna help you get your degree in accounting? If you're not like a bodybuilder or making YouTube videos like this, it's just not gonna help you with your career to make a lot of money. Now, yes, for me example, sure, if I blasted gear or whatever, yeah, maybe I'd get a couple more followers, but here's the thing. You only hear about the success stories. You never hear about all the people who have blasted gear, but they didn't get many followers online. You don't hear about them, but they're sure as shit there are. But you don't hear about them. You only hear the success stories like this guy who are like,
Oh, yeah, I took gear and then I got like, real famous and all this stuff.
but you don't hear about the tens of thousands of people who also took gear, who didn't get jag diddly squat, and are now in the hospital because their blood work is all fucked up.
Made your life to making $50,000.
To live 10 years longer, yes, because
$50,000?
man, like once you're older,
you're not going to experience all this.
He's bringing up the success of Greg Doucette, like, oh, you made millions of dollars because you took steroids. But what if he didn't? There is a world where Greg Doucette takes steroids and he doesn't become a gajillionaire. There is a world where that happens, but you see him now. He's all famous and everything. It just so happened to work out for him. But is it going to work out for you sitting at home? If I had to bet my life on it, I'm saying no. It's not going to work out. Do you know how many people try and become fitness influencers like this? Look at me right now. I'm trying to. Is it really working? No, not really. But it's a big dice roll. And it's not worth it. And you're literally playing Russian roulette with the odds heavily stacked against you, and you're gonna regret it. Don't do it.
I think you shouldn't do it is if your body simply rejects it. I think there's a genetic factor where your body accepts testosterone and steroid use. Like some people,
blood work, and it shows like, holy shit, your HDL's in the toilet. You're just like, you're unhealthy on even.
and then
like,
you get
this low
all
dose.
kinds of acne.
Gyno and the
He then brings up, like, you know, maybe some, like, if your body rejects it or whatever, then yeah, I'll probably stay away. But here's the thing. In order to figure out if your body rejects it or not, you have to try it. So again, you're still playing this game of roulette and poker. It's like going to a freaking casino, but it's with your health. Your life is on the line. Are you gonna bet your life on that freaking slot machine? No, don't do it. Don't. You don't know. Maybe you do have really good genetics for using PDs and whatever, and your blood work isn't actually that bad. But in order to do that, you have to try it, and you're gambling. You're gambling. And even if your blood work, let's say for the first year or whatever, let's say you do it for a year, it comes back all clean. Maybe one day it just comes back shit. And you're like, oh crap, this is not good. I'm gonna die soon. Shit can happen.
I don't have, knock on wood, I don't have blood pressure. I don't have any of these issues. My skin's fine. And there are a lot of other people, like most pro bodybuilders, including you, probably have a good time, or your body reacts well to steroid use.
Sure.
How do you know tomorrow morning when he wakes up, he doesn't have all this shit? Every day that passes when you do that, you're gambling your life. You're gambling your life, and you're putting your life in jeopardy. It's not worth it. Don't do it. Notice the knocking on wood, because he's praying that it doesn't happen, because it could happen at any moment. Maybe on paper your blood work is perfectly fine, but you wake up the next morning, and boom, heart attack.
So in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm taking testosterone, so I have to make up for another aspect of my
smart.
life.
Yeah.
So I do my cardio every single day.
Correct.
I eat well. I only have one cheat meal a week. Sometimes I have a little snacks. But let's say if I wasn't on testosterone, I wouldn't have that subconscious thought of, oh, I'm doing something bad that I have to make up for it.
So, yeah, he's basically using the fact that, so I eat a really healthy diet, I always do my cardio and everything, so it balances out. It makes up for the steroids or whatever. And I mean, to some degree, it definitely does. I mean, definitely, if you are going to do it, make sure you're doing your cardio, you're eating really freaking healthy, because if you eat like shit and use steroids and you skip your cardio, you really don't have. That is literally the worst thing you could do. But how about not using steroids or SARMs, peptides, or anything like that, and optimize your diet and do your cardio and be healthy for the long run? I'm sure I don't really know much about this guy. I only started following him recently because of Greg Doucette, the video he made here. I wanted to see what some of his other content was about, but I'm pretty sure this guy has a family. And later down the road, let's say, and do you really think his family wants this? You don't think his family, let's say if he was, like he was saying before, if 80, no point in living. You think his family wouldn't want him to be there when he's 80? Of course they would. So why do it? You're hurting yourself and the people around you.
See, if you're doing steroids and it's replacing other bad shit, like
Exactly.
drinking alcohol, that's a class
I don't drink, don't
carcinogenic.
smoke, I don't do any of that
So
stuff.
anyone that's criticizing, like me and you, using steroids, if they drink alcohol or they smoke cigarettes, like who the heck are you to criticize us? When
Exactly.
you're doing something
I agree.
way worse.
Exactly.
Like, as much as I'm against using steroids for people, it's very low on the list of drugs. Like, if you said, what's better, sniffing creatine or doing steroids? I'm like, do the steroids.
That is probably the one point I will give to Dura here, is that there are also other people doing really, really bad stuff. They're drinking alcohol, class 1 carcinogen, cancer causing, by the way. They're smoking or vaping, doing recreational drugs, sniffing creatine. All these stuff, all this stuff is just bad. But if you do any of that stuff, you can't criticize them for doing what they're doing, because what you're doing is just as bad. It's just as bad. So the moral of this whole video is be healthy, guys. Be safe. Don't abuse recreational drugs, steroids. Don't smoke. Don't drink. All this kinds of stuff. Obviously, like when it comes to your diet and stuff, it's okay if you, cheat a little bit every now and again. Overall, 80-20, try and be as healthy as possible. Do your cardio. And that's going to have to wrap up this video. I was just giving my opinion on this little debate they were having. Obviously, I stand strong with the opinion. Live the 10 years longer, guys. I'm telling you, when you're sitting there, let's say, like what he said before, when you're 80, You're going to be grateful, very grateful, that you took the 10 years and didn't abuse steroids. But that's going to have to wrap up the video. If you guys have enjoyed, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you're new here, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.